Hi class, I'm Kris and I'll be your English teacher for today. In today's episode, we're going to learn about our pal the moon. Okay. What is the moon? Well, that's easy. The moon is just a big rock in space. And it orbits or moves around the Earth. Now, there are two words that we had discussed in the last tutoring class. Rotate and revolve. Do you remember what they mean? Rotate means to spin like a ball, and revolve means to circle or to go around something. And the moon does both of these things, just like the Earth. I will show you a picture, and you will probably remember something similar from last week. Here's the sun. Okay. Here is the Earth. And if you remember last week, we said that the Earth spins or rotates. And it revolves around the sun. But this week we are talking about the moon. The moon, it also spins or rotates, but it does so at a speed that is so consistent, or is so similar to the way it travels around us, that we only ever see one side of the moon. It's almost like a coin that has two sides, and on one side we see a head, then on the other side we see a picture. But the moon rotates in such a way that we only see one side of it. We can't see what's on the other because it's just never facing us, no matter where on the Earth we are trying to see it. Now, when I show you this is the moon. The moon rotates around the Earth just like the Earth rotates around the sun. So it is constantly moving in circles around us while we are moving around the sun. Now the moon will go around us 12 times in 1 year. Those are called months. And this is where the idea of a month originates, where it comes from. Okay? Now all these things in space are moving around each other. And you might be wondering, what's causing them to move. What is making these objects move? That is known as gravity. Gravity is an easy concept to learn. Everything falls. That is a result of gravity. Now what gravity does, if we have an object, then the forces of gravity will pull other objects toward it. So, with the Earth, it is a very, very big thing. And so it has a lot of gravity. But something small like this marker, it still has gravity. But the marker is so small that the gravity that it has is very, very, very small. And we don't even see it or feel it. That's how small it is. It's almost like it's not even there because it is so small. But all objects, anything that exists, has some form of gravity. Okay? Does that make sense? Is this force of gravity, that causes every time we are on Earth and we drop something, it goes down because it is aiming for the center of the Earth. So no matter where we are on the Earth, if we were here, 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 it will always try to go toward the middle or the center. And the same is true with the moon. Anything dropped on the moon will try to go to the center. And it is the force of gravity that makes everything rotate around each other. So that moon rotating around us, and then we are rotating around the sun. Does that make sense? Okay. Gravity is really important when we study the moon. Because when we talk about the moon has less gravity than the Earth. So we are able to do things like jump higher. Our weight is less because gravity is weighing down on us less. And another thing that gravity from the moon is thought to do here on the Earth is cause waves in the ocean. Scientists believe that the gravity of the moon pulling on the Earth is what causes the waves. Now there are other things that make waves, but this is one of the factors, one of the forces, one of the things that creates the smaller waves. There is also another reason why gravity is important to the moon. Other than keeping the moon around us, the gravity from the moon, as it is traveling around the Earth, also draws in other objects, like meteors. Meteors. A meteor is a big rock in space, and when the meteor is pulled by the gravity of the moon, there is a chance that it can hit the moon and cause a little indent, a little pit, known as a crater. That is why when we look at pictures of the moon, you see little holes everywhere, little indents. These are made by meteors. Rocks, ice, steel. They can be made of many things. But what is important is that they hit the moon and they leave these little craters. And that is why the moon looks to us the way it looks. Okay? Even the dirt on the moon, the dirt is different from here on Earth. It is known as Regolith. Regolith. And all of the craters, again, craters on the moon involve the regolith, or the very fine moon dirt. And we will see an experiment that deals with this regolith and how craters are formed. Okay, now I will show you how craters are formed. This will be our moon. Alright? And this is our moon dirt. Do you remember what we called it? It's regolith. Alright? Now when a meteor is traveling very fast through space and it strikes the moon, it leaves a crater. Here is how a crater is formed. Notice when the coin impacted the sand, it left an indent. It left a little pit, and that pit is the crater. All of the craters on the moon are made by rocks, ice, and steel in space that collide with the moon, or that bump into it and leave little craters and pits like these along its otherwise smooth surface. Okay? Now, when we look up into the night sky on a clear day, we see the moon, and we also see little stars everywhere. Now, when we look at the moon, it looks like it is the largest thing in the sky. And to us, that's right. But every star, every planet, everything else that we see is actually larger, a lot larger than the moon. But they are so far away that they only appear to be small to our eye here on Earth. And there's another thing. Moonlight. When we look at the moon, it is often very bright. What causes it to be so bright? Where is that light originating? Where is it coming from? Well, actually the light that we see on the moon comes from the sun. What's happening is, when we look at the moon and it is bright, the light from the sun is hitting the moon and causing it to look very bright. And then we on the Earth are able to see the light that comes from the sun bouncing off of the moon, where we here on the Earth can see it. Does that make sense? So it is actually the sun's light that we see. Everything about the moon is different from here on the Earth. Even the sky. On the moon, whenever we see photos of the sky, it always looks very dark, like the blackness of space. But here on Earth, what do we see? We might see clouds, blue sky, etc. So why is it that our sky looks like this, and the sky on the moon just looks like outer space. It's because the Earth's gravity causes gas to become trapped. It's pulling the gas down to the surface of the Earth. And this prevents the gas from escaping back into outer space. The moon's gravity is very weak though, so a lot of the gas does escape. And the moon is able to keep some gas, whereas on Earth we have oxygen. That's what we breathe in when we breathe, and oxygen. But when we breathe out, that is carbon dioxide. Now these words are not very important to know for right now. They are just to show that the moon has different gases than the Earth. On the moon, there's a lot of ozone. Ozone is 3 oxygens, whereas oxygen here on Earth is made of just 1 or 2 oxygens. 1 or... But that is very advanced, and you will probably not need this information for a very long time. Again, it's just to show that the moon is quite different from the Earth in terms of what we can find there in the sky. So, as we have discussed, the weaker gravity of the moon is what makes it so different. Again, we can jump higher, we weigh less, different gases are trapped, causing the sky to be different. See you next time.